set, go!
All right, everybody. Hi, welcome back. Attorney Steve Honor. Welcome to another exciting episode of Litigation Whiteboard. All right, so if you're in the IP field, you may have heard of the Andy Warhol case. If you're in the music field, you may have heard of Andy Warhol, and even the art field. In fact, I think he did over 10,000 paintings in his life, and that's quite a few, and he's very popular. So let's talk about this copyright infringement fair use case. This dispute that's going all the way to the Supreme Court. The case has been heard. We expect a decision out sometime in mid-2023. But let's take a look and see what's going on here. Let's head to the Attorney Steve litigation whiteboard. All right, so this is a very important case. Why? It's going up to the Supreme Court of the United States. Their ruling becomes the supreme law of the land. It's the court of last resort, as they call it. And this is a really big copyright case. It really basically boils down to how much can you copy another person's copyrighted art, transform it into something new, and have it be a fair use where you're able to go ahead and do that through being transformative, or is it just a derivative work? The copyright holder holds the rights to create derivatives. So if you create a derivative, you're not entitled to create, you are infringing. If you create a transformative work that constitutes fair use after weighing the 4 fair use factors, then it's legal. It's not infringement. So this case, there's a lot at stake here. This is the Andy Warhol case versus Goldsmith, the original photographer. And I will be showing you on the screen overlays of the pictures at art here, at issue here, okay, so you can see. But basically, Goldsmith, the photographer, had a photo of Prince. And this photo was from many years back when the photographer said, you know, it shows a more vulnerable Prince, uncertain about his fame and his future. And so that's really what the meaning and the message of the original photo was and what it appears it was intended to convey. So Andy Warhol Foundation, you may have seen the Marilyn Monroe transformation. There's the soup cans. Andy Warhol was the guy who was famous for saying, everyone will be famous in the future for 15 minutes. Everyone will have their 15 minutes of fame. So if you didn't know where that came from, Andy Warhol. There's also a little of his, the factory he used to hang out, the Velvet Underground. You can hear some of that in the movie The Doors, one of my favorite movies, love The Doors. But anyway, so this was a dispute. The photographer said, hey, you're making all these series of photos, recreations. You can see them up here on the screen. You're making these recreations of my work, and you can't do that. That's copyright infringement. It looks just like my photo. You took his face, his images. And Andy Warhol Foundation for the Creative Arts says, no, this is just transformative. It gives new meaning and message to the videos or to the photos, new meaning and message. You know, that your photo was about Prince as a uncertain artist. Ours is that he's a pop icon now and he's going to be appearing in a magazine, you know. So we're elevating him to all new heights, transforming the work, putting different spins and colors on it. And we didn't use the entire photo. So this has created a big fair use dispute. Now, I'm going to show you just real quick the procedural aspects. I'm not going to post the case until it comes out in, obviously I can't, but in mid-June or July, May, whenever it comes out, the decision, I'll post it on my website here. Make sure to follow to get the final decision. I believe it's going to probably be a fair use. That's what I think. But it's hard to say for sure, and that's why the toughest cases go up to the United States Supreme Court. So this case started when the photographer got wind of what was going on and sent a demand letter to the Warhol Foundation saying, you're using my photo of Prince. What are you doing? That's mine. And she was demanding, according to the testimony I heard in the Supreme Court arguments, that she was demanding 7 figures. So who knows what that amount was, $1 million, 2, 5 million, whatever, I don't know. But she was demanding a lot of money. Andy Warhol said, no, we've done this before. Remember the soup cans? Remember we took all the soup cans and that was That was legal. We were allowed to do that. That's a fair use. We're commenting on the culture and consumerism, materialism, all this stuff. So that's kind of their position. We're just transforming something, bringing it new meaning, new message, no infringement. It's a fair use. The district court, sided with Andy Warhol Foundation, AWF, and said, yes, that is transformative. It does provide new meaning and message on the transformation, shall we, of how he was an unsure artist, unsure of his abilities and his future, to here he was in the icon photos that everybody knows, like the Obama photo, things like that. New meaning message, the AWF cited to the Campbell case, the Google case, basically transformation, new meaning, new message. And boom, they won. Motion for summary judgment. Case went up on appeal. Goldsmith took it up on appeal to the Second Circuit. And on appeal, the appellate court reversed the decision, and they said, no, it is a copyright infringement. It's not transformative. All you're doing is taking the picture, the original source, and dabbling it up a little bit. That's, who cares about the message? Who's going to sit and concern themselves with what the message is or isn't? You're using the original source too much. Weigh the four factors. It's not a fair use. It's an infringement. So now you're looking at copyright infringement fees, which sometimes in some cases can be in the millions, in the millions of dollars. So I don't know how much money was put into this, but you have some pretty big firms at issue. So it went up on appeal, no transformation. It's visually similar. And the essential elements were used from the original, the face and whatnot, and the same sort of mouth gesture and things like that. So having won, then lost, AWF, Andy Warhol Foundation, filed a writ of certiorari. I'll put a link down in the message box. I have a good video on that if you're wondering more how you get your case into the Supreme Court, and hope that they will hear it. Okay, not a lot of cases actually get heard, very small percentage, but where you have a significant issue like this, now coming up with artificial intelligence, and we have machines creating artwork, digging into all these factual things in the past and coming out, generating a new piece of art. This is going to be a very critical case, I believe. But the Supreme Court took it up. There were oral arguments, and I'm going to insert here just one of the funner parts of the argument with the United States Supreme Court sitting in bench. So we'll just listen here.
Reasonably perceive whether their view of a transformed meaning or message is reasonable, whether it could reasonably be perceived. And I think that in a lot of these cases where you're really talking about a very minor change and someone's just a knockoff artist making a bogus claim to new meaning or message, I think that juries or fact finders can exercise their common sense and say that there's no transformative meaning or message there.
Thank you. Justice Thomas?
I assume that the orange prints is copyright.
Yes, and I think that copyright's directly at issue in this case.
Let's say that I'm both a Prince fan, which I was in the 80s, and
no longer.
Well, so only on Thursday night. But let's say that I'm also a Syracuse fan, and I decide to make one of those big blow-up posters of orange prints and change the colors a little bit around the edges and put "Go Orange" underneath. Would you sue me?
For infringement? Would the Warhol Foundation sue you if you were to do that?
Oh, well, you're their lawyers.
I can't comment on whether we would sue you, but I think to try to get at your question, Your Honor, I think the question of whether that would be fair use, I mean, it sounds like you're, by hypothesis, asking me to consider that there's like a different meaning or message associated with the work. I don't think that's the only part of the inquiry. I think that everyone recognizes that at Factor 1, the ultimate goal here is to figure out whether the follow-on user is doing something sort of creative.
Oh, I'm just
that matters.
waving it I'm waving it during the game with a big Prince face on it. Go Orange.
Yeah. I think that in circumstances like that, it's very unlikely if it was just one of you that
oh,
that
no,
would sue you.
I'm going to market it to all my Syracuse buddies.
So.
All right. So finally, that's it. So it's a very interesting case as a copyright lawyer like myself. I'm really waiting to hear what happens. I tend to believe that the Andy Warhol Foundation is going to win because it did provide new meaning and message in my view. And I think those are the kinds of things we want to encourage new art, encourage the free flow of information and art and culture, comment and criticism on things. And I think it's gonna meet that test, probably be sent back to the Second Circuit Court. But we'll wait and see. Make sure you bookmark this. This is general legal information only, not legal advice. If you like this video, share it. Don't be afraid to do one of those. And if you got any comments, leave your comments. What do you think is going to happen? You tell me. You're probably smarter than me anyway.